Charlie Cox is back and darker than ever. The new Thunderbolts trailer has Marvel fans asking, did A24 just make a superhero movie? And Robert Downey Jr. is going full method for Doom, writing his own backstory and everything. Let's break it all down in Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and gaming and more right now on Fundamentals. Hey.
Heyo!
Oh, man.
Welcome to episode 31.
Yes. It's got so much great Marvel stuff to talk about and to kick us off with. You ready to get it going?
Yeah.
Daredevil. Oh my God.
Dude.
It is
Let's talk about it.
finally here.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. I'm going to give a synopsis of the first two episodes and then let's break it down right after that. I'm so excited.
Right.
So today we're talking about the first two episodes of Daredevil Born Again, the highly anticipated return of Matt Murdock to our screens. And let me tell you, the season does not hold back. We've got shocking moments, brutal fights, and a whole new political game in Hell's Kitchen. So let's get into it. Episode 1 is titled Heaven's Half Hour. Opening at Josie's bar, we start off at Josie's with a familiar spot with all the Daredevil fans. Matt, Foggy, and Karen, they're there celebrating, having a few drinks. Their associate Cherry is there retiring, and it's supposed to be a night of good vibes. But this is Daredevil. We all know happiness does not last long in Hell's Kitchen. Oh my God. Right off the bat.
It's just so...
Foggy's
the
death.
Emotions, the sadness.
Yes.
Oh my God. So the scene, where you're just you can hear Karen just talking to Foggy, dude, just hang in there. The ambulance is on the way. And you're just on the edge of your seat, oh God, he's gonna make it. He's gonna make it.
Yeah,
nope.
So Benjamin Poindexter, better known as Bullseye, shows up and absolutely shatters the moment, as you were saying. He goes on a rampage, opening fire, and in the chaos, Foggy gets shot within the first 5 minutes. And this isn't a he'll walk it off kind of wound. Foggy Nelson is dead. Matt, completely breaking down in grief and rage, does something we've never seen him do before. He snaps. He doesn't just fight Bullseye. He throws him off the roof. Now, Bullseye survives, but this moment changes Matt forever. His code is broken, and in the aftermath, he abandons being Daredevil. Then we get to 1 year later. Flash forward a year, and things are different. Matt is now working as a lawyer again, this time alongside former district attorney Kirsten McDuffie. Karen has left New York altogether. She's in San Francisco trying to move on. And as for Bullseye, he's locked up for life. Wilson Fisk becomes mayor.
Think.
Yeah.
So we think.
Meanwhile, Wilson Fisk, our favorite criminal mastermind, has pulled off something huge. With the full support of his wife, Vanessa, Fisk runs for mayor and wins. Yeah, you heard that right. Wilson Fisk is now the mayor of New York City. And when Matt confronts him, he delivers a warning. Stay out of the shadows, Fisk, because if I have to come back, it won't be as a lawyer. But Fisk, as Fisk is, he just smiles because now he doesn't have to hide in the shadows. He owns the system. So before we go into the synopsis of episode 2, let's kind of throw in some thoughts and stuff that and surprises, I guess, of episode 1.
So I mean, right after he threw Bullseye off the side of the building, he takes off his mask.
Yeah.
And Sherry, actually, whose retirement it was, he came up and he was like, dude, what the fuck? It's Matt.
Yeah. But he's blind.
Yeah, right. So I thought that was really cool and interesting, and just hearing seeing the fight happen, and then seeing Daredevil just pausing to listen for Karen talking to Foggy's heartbeat, and that it's just so touching.
Fight. Oh yeah, as he's going up that stairway, they get that halfway mark, and you hear, and then also I love the way, and this is the first time we've seen it like this, the way they filmed Matt overhearing Foggy's phone conversation in the bar to where like his heightened senses of hearing.
Mhm.
That's the first time it's been filmed that way. And I was watching some interview with Brandon Davis actually with the two creators of this, and they were
Mhm.
explaining how they do it. I'm not even going to try to act like I know know what I'm talking about when it comes to that, but
Yeah.
super creative, and I really love that better than we've seen it in any other way.
Yeah,
Uh,
and like New Rockstars talked about it during their breakdown
mhm,
of Daredevil episodes 1 and 2, and in it they
mhm,
kind of tied it also to the spider senses that Tom Holland
right,
had,
where it kind
and
of
I thought
zooms
that was
in and zooms
yeah, it
out.
zooms in and like the whole like background just kind of like it's
Yeah. What was
it's like a
cool,
blurry like background, so.
they were talking about, like, they ended up having, like, a certain camera, and I can't remember the name of it, but then there was, like, 2 other cameras there, on one on each side of it, and that's how it kinda gives that more surround look, and it actually
Mhm.
stitches the film together between the 3 cameras, and I was like, "Man, it's technology. It's insane."
But
Uh,
I love it. I loved all of it.
yeah,
And then seeing him, touching that like the braille, like little um the service card for Foggy,
yeah.
before he went to go and testify against Bullseye a year later. Um, I was just like, oh man, like
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was gonna be like when I saw the 1 year later and him still having that braille thing, I was like, why does he still have like the funeral like service card? And I think it was just like to remember like why he's no longer Daredevil. He kind of like made this promise.
Yeah,
Um,
and we know Foggy was always worried about him, not,
yeah.
dying or something going wrong.
And right before or right after he had that phone call, like, Matt came up to him and was like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you tell me that your guy is like in
Right.
the stash house?" He's like, "I just didn't want to give you an excuse."
Yeah.
Is like his exact words, and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah, and a lot of people
okay."
a lot of people you're seeing too, they're saying they're like, "Oh, it's kinda weird that, Matt's doing so well a year later, and you would think he would take Foggy's death way hard." I think he did, and I think the reason of his lifestyle is in memory of Foggy. He's doing this for Foggy, and so I think there's a lot more depth there than what people are seeing, on this, but, that's
Hmm.
just my take on that, and then, kinda get back to the Bullseye scene, I really love, and a lot of people, criticize and hate the original Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck. As a kid, and not having a lot of stuff, superhero movies like we do now.
Hmm.
It was that movie great? No. Will it hold a sentimental place in my heart? Yes. And I love how they did Bullseye with the paperclip and he kills that fly,
Hmm.
because that is a
Yeah.
callback to Colin Farrell's Bullseye when
Yeah, the
he
homage. Yeah.
yes, yes, where he's playing darts in that bar and he takes the paper clips and folds them off and yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, and I would say like I did not expect an homage to the original Daredevil movie because hell, we've had all this, Charlie Cox Daredevil up to now, and we ain't really. I don't think we've really seen anything of that. I will say one of my favorite jokes that I have seen on the internet, and I can't remember who this was, but they're like, "Oh my god, Daredevil Born Again! This is the most amazing She-Hulk spinoff I've ever seen in my life."
Damn.
I'm like, "That's good. That is good." But also a little fun fact, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, they killed Foggy." And so a lot of people are like, is Foggy dead? And it looks like he died. I mean, we even heard him listen to his heartbeat to where his heartbeat stopped. I think he's dead, but you have your speculations, you have your, comic fans out there. And so when it shows them coming out of their, their law firm, the address is 468 above the door. And a lot of people think that that's the number 468 comic in Daredevil, which is where Foggy fakes his death.
Oh.
Yeah, and they put that there, but was it for that reason or was it just a mess with everybody? Because they know about all of us YouTubers and all these fans breaking stuff down and looking for these clues. So, like, I'm
Mm.
super curious. Like, is that just a mess with people, or are we not done seeing Foggy? And here's another thing too: is there's an interview with one of the directors and or creators, and he's like, "We will see Karen and Foggy." This is before the show debuted, and
Yeah.
he's like, "We will see Karen and Foggy in season 1 and 2." So by him saying that, I don't think he would just loosely say that. Is it just Foggy in flashbacks? Is it maybe Matt struggling and hearing Foggy talk, in his mind, through different stuff?
Mhm.
Or is it because Foggy's really not dead? I mean, we've seen people fake their death in the MCU. Nick Fury,
Yeah.
he had that toxin. He looked like he was pretty dead. I mean, when we seen him and he got, through with that. And the Bruce Banner's talked about a toxin he created to slow down his heart rate. Uh, so I don't know. There's so many things, and as we all know, in Marvel, nobody's ever truly stays dead except for Uncle Ben. So
Damn, that was dark. Damn. Oh God. Oh, but
it's
okay,
true
so
though. It's true. Uh, yeah. You have any more about episode 1?
I mean, like, so if we don't think that he's actually dead, like, okay, I can see it because we always say, like, don't believe it until you see the
Right.
body. The same thing with, like, Scarlet Witch at this point, right? We saw, like,
Hmm.
the rocks tumble and we're like, oh, she's, like, dead or whatever, but you don't know for sure.
Right.
We didn't see him get carted off underneath that white blanket.
No, but I mean, like, I think that still would have happened even if it was faked. Because here's
Mm.
another thing too. People's like, oh, if he was still alive, Matt would have heard his heartbeat. But so like that talks with Nick Fury that slows down his heartbeat. That's 1 beat per hour, if I'm not mistaken, is what that gives you.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then Matt, I think, was so distraught that
Hmm.
literally he probably wouldn't have even noticed it, even a small beat, because like I
Yeah,
mean he took his mask off and didn't even pay attention to Cherry coming up to the rooftop. So I think he
right.
was so beside himself, it kind of distracted him from what he normally would have heard or
Hmm.
picked up on anyways. So there's still that possibility. There's still the possibility.
Yeah.
I don't want Foggy to be dead. I really don't. And not just along with that 468 comic where he faked his death. Uh, Foggy has faked his death, I think, 3 times total in the comics. So
Okay.
yeah, he's got a history of this.
Yeah, that would be interesting, and I would love to see how they would bring that in and how they would react. I am more on the lines of I hope, not that I hope. I I want, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how like to correctly say this because it's like a weird way to say
Yeah.
it, but I I hope that the death is actually the death because like think of the repercussions, think of the side
Right.
order effects of if he does come back and he wasn't actually dead, like how would that like how would
Oh
Matt
yeah.
deal with that? And then like Karen, like she was just like this affected me too and she was like going through it and everything like they had like Karen and Matt kind of had this like romance that they had going on
Yeah.
that we kind of got to see in Josie's and then all of a sudden now
Well,
they
yeah, the
don't
bromance, well,
so
they sleep together and just as friends.
like how would that like affect everything else and like I don't know man like I would
Yeah.
just kind of hope that like what it is and maybe there's a
Yeah.
different universe like Foggy that's gonna come into their lives or something I don't know
No, I
I don't know
wholeheartedly agree with you. As much as I didn't want Foggy to die, seeing this happen, I, I think it would mean more and would be better if he stays dead. Uh,
hmm
Not because I don't like him, and it's like that. Because oh my god, who doesn't like Foggy?
right
But like kind of like Matt and Vincent were saying in an interview. He's like, this was such a hard decision. He's like, even off screen. He's like, because
hmm
we've all built such a personal connection. He's like, but one thing that we had to do with bringing Daredevil back, is there had to be some bold decisions to carry on the story arc that needed to be told, and this is what made sense to make the story arc make sense. And
yeah
so, like, I think it would, and plus, like, after being gone for a year, like you're saying, like, how would you even how would you even make that okay? Like, no matter what the reason was, it wouldn't be okay, especially how close they were and what they went through, and to keep that hidden for a year. Like, I
Yeah, I
think I
mean,
think
think
this needs
of
to be a pivot point in Matt's life that needs to stay true.
yeah, and you also have to think of like the blip. Like everybody,
Mhm.
like some people, like dusted away and then came back, and like think of how like that happened for everybody, like
Right.
and how that completely changed their lives. Like so, I don't know, man. Because this is like he died right in front of them. Like Karen was like hands on chest, like trying to save him with the blood gushing out, and the girl always seems to find a way to cover herself in blood. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, she does actually.
Like I was just thinking of like the first episode or first season back in Daredevil when we got kind of like introduced to Karen and she
Yeah. When that guy
got like blood
breaks into her
spray. Yeah,
apartment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I just kind of hope that um he does stay gone, but if he doesn't, I want to have like a good reason as to why this happened. If it's like an Avengers type thing, if it's a, I don't know
Yeah.
why they would do that. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to break into the synopsis of episode 2. So episode 2 is
Okay.
called Optics. We have Hector Ayala's arrest. Now, episode 2 shifts gears. It brings in a new character, Hector Ayala, the White Tiger. Some of you might recognize that name, especially if you're a comic book fan. But here, Hector gets arrested after a brutal subway incident. He was trying to protect a kid named Nicky Torres from getting assaulted, but in the struggle, he accidentally kills one of the attackers. Now, the guy tripped. It wasn't his fault. But turns out these guys are dirty cops. So now Hector is behind bars, and Matt steps in as his lawyer to fight for his innocence. All right, so now we get to where Fisk faces resistance as mayor. Over at City Hall, Fisk might be the mayor, but that does not mean that things are easy for him. He's dealing with pushback from the NYPD Commissioner Gallo, who's threatening to resign because the department is in shambles. He's definitely not got everybody sold on this. But Fisk being Fisk, he doesn't negotiate. He threatens. He lets Gallo know if he walks away, his family won't be safe. So yeah, Fisk is still very much the kingpin that we know, just with a fancier office now.
His secret family on top of that.
Right, right. So we get Matt's return as Daredevil, and finally the big moment. Matt can't sit on the sidelines anymore. When corrupt officers come after Nicky Torres, Matt steps in, and this time he fights. It's a brutal street level brawl that reminds us why Daredevil is one of the best hand to hand fighters in Marvel. Oh my God, the scene goes hard. And just like that, the devil of Hell's Kitchen is back.
Hmm.
Ah, my God. So what do we take away from this episode? I mean, I have to say to in like both these episodes, really, right off the bat, this show is darker and more intense than ever. We were worried about this staying just as dark and gritty as a Netflix. It's went above that, and I love it. I think it was bold, them killing Foggy off. I mean, it goes to show that no one's really safe in this.
Hmm.
Also Fisk running as New York mayor. I mean, it's like major things, boom, 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 right off the bat. And then we see
Yeah.
Matt wrestling with demons harder than ever. I mean,
Hmm.
so it's safe to say I think that we're in for one hell of a season, and yeah, they're bringing it. They are bringing
Yeah.
it.
Oh, absolutely. And I really liked how they show Vanessa as the leader of like the gang that Kingpin was a part of, but now is the
Mhm.
mayor and he's like, I can't be attached to that anymore. And she's like, well, I took over for it once like when he got shot and
Yes.
had to go through his recovery and everything. So I really like to the fact that we're seeing like that darker side of Vanessa and the fact that she is no longer this pure wearing white art
Not
dealer
at
that we
all.
got to see at first because she was totally blind to like what was happening and now she is completely corrupt and it kind of shows you like what happens when Wilson Fisk gets involved with people. They don't come out,
Yeah. Well, I mean, now mind you, it's
clean.
in season 3, she did say, he's like, "Oh, I just, I never wanted you to be involved in any of this." And she told Fisk though, she's like, "My hands never have been clean." And so like that right there kind of lets you know what she was capable of, and boom, they
Hmm.
start right off into of this season showing you exactly what she was capable of.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Do
there's so
you
many.
do you think it was Vanessa then that like told Bullseye to
I
go
don't know.
after
It makes you
Nat
wonder.
Foggy and Karen? Because like you got to hear Wilson Fisk actually say to Daredevil like
Yeah,
I kept up my promise. Like that
right.
was not me. So then who was it? Because like someone had to have sent Bullseye after,
Mm-hmm.
Foggy and Karen and got to like someone who knew enough information that had those connections to know that Foggy had that guy living in the safe house that was his apartment,
Right.
right? So somebody who had all that information enough to get Matt away from, Karen and Foggy, and then just start like brutally murdering everybody, right?
Yeah.
So Like I wonder if it was Vanessa that did that, because she is that corrupt person now, and maybe she wants Wilson back as like the corrupt guy that she knows, who we kind of know that he's still
I don't
corrupt, as we
know.
saw with
We we got
him.
we got Adam in here too. Don't forget about Adam.
Adam who?
Yeah,
um,
I was shocked when he's like, I know about you and Adam, and I'm like, oh
and she's like,
damn.
"Don't kill him," and I'm
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
he promised not to kill him. I'm like, it doesn't mean he's not going to torture the shit out of him. And then
yeah."
I'm over here like, or will he? Because who is this Adam? Has she been boinking with Adam Warlock? I mean, that's like one of the jokes going around the internet. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
Kingpin goes find out it's this golden guy that's got all these powers. Like, there's nothing he could do to Adam Warlock.
it's unfortunate. But yeah, so I wonder about that, and then I want to see like what they do with this white tiger, and especially because we
Mm,
know that the character himself has passed away back in December,
mm.
due to cancer. So I wonder what they're going to do with
With
his
his,
character,
yeah,
if they're going to have his sister, who we got to see kind of maybe a picture of in his room when Cherry was doing the snooping around
yeah.
and found the white tiger costume. Like,
Well,
is she going to
also,
take up that mantle? Because there's a comic book like
yeah.
series off of that.
Well, I think in the comics, if I'm not mistaken, it's his niece. And
Niece? Okay.
and the funny thing we talked about, I think 2 weeks ago or 2 shows ago, maybe three, that obviously it's pure rumor, but Jenna Ortega is being spotted, and immediately fans are like, "Oh, she would be great to take on the mantle of White Tiger," because that character seems to be dark and broody, and let's be honest, that's kind of Jenna Ortega's thing. And like I think that would make sense and work. I it so like I wonder what your thoughts are on this. So the White Tiger, here's my two thoughts, and I want to see what yours is. So we
Mm.
know like his character has to unfortunately pass away because he did in real life. Um, I either think somehow someone's going to get to him before he can get out of prison, and it's going to be he's going to be killed in prison, or he will get freed and will be done right. But then because he gets out, Kingpin will have someone kill him. What's your
I'm
thoughts?
hoping that they don't actually kill him.
Hmm.
I'm hoping more along the lines of like, because his wife doesn't really agree with him being the white
Right.
tiger, and we get to see
Sure.
that throughout this episode. So I'm hoping that he gets out and that he's just like, I'm done holding up this mantle of this vigilante because Daredevil's back.
Okay.
Um, Possibly, right?
Okay.
So like maybe that's him saying like, okay, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna start my entire new life and I'm gonna move away and
I like
I'm
this.
done with this.
I never thought about
Right.
that.
I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe.
It
I'm hoping.
that's a
I'm
nicer thought. I mean, it's a nicer thought. Hey, this guy got free, gave up the mantle, and they went to go live a peaceful life.
Yeah.
I like that. It's definitely
I don't
way
know.
more happier. I just know how dark Daredevil is, so I just didn't know.
Right. So we got to see Matt, do his whole fighting scene of like him saying to the corrupt cops who were coming after the guy that White
Mm,
Tiger did actually end up saving. They were like, he got to get him away and told him that like Cherry was waiting for him wherever.
mhm.
And he told these corrupt cops like, "Hey man, like I am blind. Like do not like I'm just his lawyer. Like don't fuck with me." Um but because he had too much information or whatever, they started fucking with him. And he's just like, "Dude, like I just told them I'm blind, but you know what? All right." And now they pulled out a gun and he's like,
Yep.
"Well, I can't."
You don't want to do this.
Self-defense. It's self-defense now, right? So we didn't actually get to see Daredevil like go after those people. That was Matt Murdock going after those people,
Yeah.
like
And
full up.
I want to know, are they dead?
That's
Are
everybody's question.
Are they dead? I'm gonna tell you, like the way that, that freezer took those blunt forces of that guy's head. I
Mm,
mean, that looked pretty legit. And then oh boy's arm, that bone. Oh my god.
yeah.
Uh, and then he
So
just kind
I
of
mean,
lost it, screaming out.
even if they did live, like they couldn't go to like the cops and be like, "Yo, it's
A
this
blind
blind
man
man."
did
Like,
this.
yeah, like,
Yeah,
"Yo, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?" Like, nah.
yeah. Oh, let's talk about this. How
Yeah.
about the Punisher tattoo? So I think
Yeah.
I think that there's a secret unofficial task force of cops that are dirty, that feel
Mm,
like they're taking on the mantle of doing the Punisher's work, but doing it in the wrong sense. And
yeah.
I think there's like a little brotherhood of, oh, we're Punishers, and it's actually a band of dirty cops.
Yeah.
What's your theory on this? What do you think's behind the Punisher tattoo?
I think that it was just like a tattoo of a skull, and they weren't really trying to resemble
I don't know. So remember we got
Punisher. I don't
leaked
know.
scenes like a year ago when on some filming, and it showed some cops with bulletproof vests on with spray painted Punisher skulls on it as well.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I feel like we have to I don't want to say anything because I don't
Yeah.
know. And I want to see the Punisher and see how they interact and how all of that happens because we
Mm,
do see like in the trailers that we've gotten, we did see Daredevil and the Punisher kind of fighting and he was like, "Dude, it's me. Like fucking
yeah.
relax. It's Frank." Um
Well, I think too
and
they were
uh,
having a hard conversation and a disagreement. And part of the scenes they showed
and
as well.
and then so now you have to wonder like what are they having a disagreement about? What's the issue? Like is it
Mm,
that he actually is raising these like bad cops? Like is that something that the Punisher really would do? Like I don't know.
nah, nah. My boy John wouldn't do that.
And that's why I'm saying like I don't think that it's
I think
that.
I
I
think
think
I
they
think maybe. Sorry. Uh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I just think that maybe they are trying to be their own vigilantes in some type of
hmm
way, but they're also still underneath like Kingpin's kind of like Vanessa's rule kind of
hmm
thing. So I
Here,
don't
here's
know,
what
man.
here's what I think. I think why we're going to get the Punisher back, and obviously, I really want a lot more Frank because I love Frank and Matt's team up, or Frank and yeah. But I think the Punisher may come in because of these skull tattoos.
Hmm.
And I think, like, obviously Matt can't see it or whatever, but I think something's going to be said to him about it, and he's going to, I think the Punisher's going to come in and try to clean house because he feels like, because of him, maybe these guys are doing this, so he's going to help clean house and get rid of these shithead vigilante wannabes. Uh,
Okay.
I think he may end up being in just one or two episodes, and that's it, though.
Okay.
Uh, that's just, I don't know. That's my take. I could be completely wrong,
I
but
mean, Matt
you
doesn't
know
have
how
to
he.
see a tattoo to in order to know it's there because tattoos are raised.
Well, that's
Like
true.
some of them are raised, like
That's
with
very
line
true.
work, so
Yeah,
he could feel it.
right. But just knowing how John Berthel's Punisher is and how he really carries the burden of things that's his fault, I think he may feel like the burden of, oh, I need to get rid of these guys,
Hmm.
because they're carrying my mark on them as a tattoo. And so I
Yeah.
think that's maybe why he comes into this season, is just to help clean up these group of dirty cops that are claiming to be doing his work when they're not.
Oh, you know something we didn't talk about is when Wilson Fisk was doing his like not presidential, but like mayor address or
Oh
whatever,
yeah,
and he talked
yes,
about fucking Spider-Man.
yes, yes. He's like a man with horns or a man with a skull or whatever.
And no, he
Painted.
talked about the man with the skull and then the man with the webs. So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
talked about
but
Punisher and
yeah,
he did he
he
didn't I don't
mentioned
think he talked
he mentioned
he did?
Daredevil,
Okay.
Punisher, and Spider-Man all in the same deal.
Okay.
He's like, we don't need somebody dressed up with the man with horns, and then he's like said the deal with I think someone with a skull painted on them, and then he said, or someone dressed in a spider as a spider or something like that, because
Yeah.
legally they can't mention in live action Spider-Man's name, so they're like, or a man dressed as a spider, I think is what he said. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was so cool to see here. Wilson Fisk first time mention Spider-Man, because Wilson Fisk is also one of Spider-Man's main bad guys.
Yeah.
Uh, oh my God, yeah, that was so great to hear that come out of his mouth and just
And to
realize that
know
he's
that we
aware of him.
have yeah, and we have the MCU like kind of coming
Yes,
together ever so
yes.
slightly. And we know we want it. We want it so bad. So, like to slowly get the pieces coming together,
hmm
I think it's just I can't wait. I can't
Me
wait to
too.
see what
Me
they
too.
do with it. Like, at what point
So
in time do we finally get to have Spider-Man like
yes,
actually in a Daredevil or something?
right. So anybody watching this, please tell us in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts on the first two episodes. Are you
Yes.
liking this path that Matt's going down? What do you think about Fisk being mayor and kind of how that's playing out? White Tiger, tell us everything. Your thoughts, your opinions. If you don't agree with something we said, tell us why. Oh my God. I'm so ready for Tuesday night.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
uh, So we have a new trailer for Thunderbolts.
Bruh.
And let me tell you, this has to be probably the best Thunderbolts trailers and out of all of them to me, but then
Oh yeah.
also that stands out than any other Marvel trailer that has. Literally, it's going around because it's such a A24 style trailer, and
hmm
everybody's like, "Oh my god, is A24 making this Marvel movie?" Which we all know,
Well, it did say from like the producers of like Hereditary and Midsommar, and those are, I'm pretty sure, A24 movies. Like
mhm,
because those or Midsommar at least has Florence Pugh in it.
yeah,
Um
screw that movie.
so
I will never watch that again.
okay, well I love those movies. And then it also has it
You love
said something
Midsummer?
about, yeah, I've watched it more than one time. Like I've watched it at least three at this point. Yeah.
It's a it
I
it
like
it. Hmm.
and I like the fact that it's a mindfuck movie. Like I do.
It definitely is.
Because like there's like,
Well,
everybody when you watch like
I
those
like
kind of
movies that
movies.
yeah, I like movies that do
Yeah.
that to you when you walk in like, "Holy crap." But that was a little
It
that
was
was
too much for
probably
you.
it was yeah, that was the first movie that's on that movie's on the level of Human Centipede for me.
Goddamn. Okay.
Yeah.
But you also got to see that it's tied to everything everywhere all at once. You've seen that movie?
Yeah. And
Okay.
no, I've seen pieces of it. I've never watched it all the way through, but like I've
Bruh.
heard how amazing it is. And like
It's
yeah,
amazing.
what's really cool about this Marvel trailer that they did was also I think for the first time ever, like you're speaking of all these films that these people have worked on that's also working on this. They really threw it out there like, "Hey, check it out. That these people have been on these other films." And you really don't see that with Marvel. They really focus on the highlights of their characters, the actors,
hmm
and their storyline. And so
Yeah.
I think it's Marvel really taking a different take on a trailer that I think is smart and is going to work out really well for them. And
Yeah.
I truly think this movie is going to be phenomenal and blow everybody out of the water.
I like that they had like the screens of all the characters and then it went to the character's name
Mhm.
after it. So like, or it was before and then the picture of the character or something. So
Yeah.
it said like, and
So
so we got to have all of that and it said Bob. I
fun
was like,
fact
no.
too, this is the first time because 'cause they've been doing that, that with the names and the characters on quite a few of their trailers since they've
Oh,
been advertising. But
okay, okay.
what's, strange, this is the first trailer where they don't mention Taskmaster.
They didn't. You're absolutely right. They didn't.
And so many theories of her has been going around because she's the one you see in the least in the scenes, and the scenes you see her in still always repeat in the trailer. And so,
Mm.
there's the theory that she dies early on in the movie, or that she just don't have that many scenes. And then there's also a new theory going around that she dies, and then the actual real Taskmaster from the comics comes back, which is Tony Masters, and he makes a debut appearance in this possibly, but they're keeping it a secret, which would be kind of interesting. So I don't know. There's so many theories going on, but I think there's definitely something there that's not right that we're not seeing because of
Yeah.
how much they're leaving her out. And then
hmm
now for the first time, they just did not mention her. So so many crazy things. And this is also the first trailer. Like we know that they're in the Avengers Tower and they've seen that, but this is the first time in this trailer too. It gets mentioned that this is Val's watchtower, which is also a callback to Sentry because that's called his watchtower is what his tower was called. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's even another comic reference that we're getting. Oh man, and that kind of also confirms, I think, I mean, it really kind of really leans towards heavy that Century is Val's creation that went wrong, and that
hmm
she messed up. But then it's like, oh, she sends all these individual characters, I think, to maybe try to attempt to clean up her mess, but then possibly kill each other, and then they confront her about I don't know. I'm so ready for this. Every freaking trailer though of the Thunderbolts is just pumped me up, and it gets me
Yeah.
more and more excited.
Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about the trailer real quick
Yeah.
is the fact that they had like the Thunderbolts like logo with the asterisks come up and it comes off and then the asterisk comes back out like bold in your face like we
Mm.
know. We know
Yeah,
what we're doing. Like, just
yeah.
we know we're playing on your emotions, and we know that you are upset about it, and you're wondering what this asterisk is, and now we're throwing it even more in your face. Like, how about that?
And one of the heaviest rumors, theories is that at by the end they're going to change the name to Dark Avengers,
Mhm.
and I hope that's what it is. I'm going to be honest with you, like it's cool to have Thunderbolts for the comics use the name in just this one sequel, this one production, but then
Yeah.
it don't really make sense with the Thunderbolt Ross and that however that's going. To me, it don't, and so I
Yeah.
think just to have this change at the end to Dark Avengers and we have this, oh man, I'm here for it. That's what I hope happens.
Oh yeah, we know that they're gonna change the name of this team because we got to see it in one of the trailers. I think the
Hmm.
last one prior to this one, where they were just like, it was Red Guardian that's like, we should call ourselves the Thunderbolts, and they're all like, oh
Yeah.
no, we can't do
And yeah,
that.
Bucky's like, we can't call ourselves. Bucky says we can't call ourselves that or whatever.
I can't. It
I
was either Bucky
yeah,
or it was
Wyatt Russell.
Florence Pugh. Yeah.
Oh
No, it was one of them. That was. I don't know.
yeah, but anyways, I think there's a reason why they put that line in these clips of the trailers, just to tease that this isn't what they're going to be called. So
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. So Russo brothers have spoke about how they actually already have a plan to prevent leaks and stuff for filming Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Uh, and one thing they said, there's like, we're kind of where we're going to shoot this. We have some plans because one thing we don't want to get, like a lot of your Marvel projects, is a lot of leaks because we don't want too much to be given away. So they already have
Hmm.
something put into works. How they plan on keeping it lot tighter than anything else ever has been before.
Yeah.
I still think we're going to get our leak stuff. It somehow
Of course.
it
I
always
mean,
finds its way to the internet.
it's the internet. If there's a will, there's a way, right? Or
Right.
as Jeff Goldblum says, life finds a way or whatever. But
Yeah.
like I think that like if we really want to search for it, really want to like get in there,
Mhm.
there's going to be some type of leaks out there, and there's only so much that you can do. But I think that most of their stuff that they are filming is kind of like indoors, and they're making it very.
It is. Well, that's one thing they said was, a lot of this is going to be indoors and shot with, behind, closed doors in a building.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
there is a lot less chance of something being leaked with not much filming being, sets being built outside and people doing what they do with their drones or whatever they do.
Yeah.
uh, but you still always have that one internal person that accidentally, or not accidentally, purposely,
Yeah. I mean, there's like Tom Holland that sometimes accidentally actually like
him and
says
Mark
something.
Ruffalo.
And I mean the fact that, I mean we're gonna get into it in a bit about like how
Hmm.
Doomsday ties in with Spider-Man 4, but like
Yeah.
Tom Holland's in
But
Spider-Man
there's
4,
also the
so
the running theory that the whole Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo was supposed to be in Captain America: Brave New World, just like a little scene, but they went ahead and
mhm,
cut it out just because he accidentally spilled that. He said that on an interview and spilled that he was going to be in it, and so
hmm.
people's like, "Why wasn't he in it? It was cut out." They're like, "We think that was just punishment from him accidentally talking too much."
Dude, I don't know. Like I really do think that um Captain America Brave New World, it really was like I think I was watching like a pitch meeting or something
Hmm.
that they do on I can't even remember it, but it's called pitch meeting, and they did a pitch meeting for Captain America Brave New World, and they're like, so since this kind of seems like it's an actual backstory to the Hulk, like why don't we have the Hulk in it? And they're like, no, 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 we're not gonna do that. And I was like,
Yeah,
ugh. So
there were so many callbacks from the Hulk in that.
yeah, like dude, yeah. Yeah. I still can't believe that they didn't even do anything with that. No, that's
So
just me.
yeah. So next on the list, Vin Diesel. He can't let go of his Marvel family, I guess.
Family.
So he's been on Instagram teasing that he is wanting to do a Planet X production project. I don't know if it's either going to be a series or a movie he wants to do, but I
I think
think he's
it's
out here.
leaning towards the series.
Yeah, and
It's
Planet X is Groot's, home planet. So it would be a story with a whole bunch of the Groot species, which would, I'm not gonna lie, I can never have enough Groot. Not a big Van Diesel fan, but I absolutely love Groot. I love him in all
Would they
stages.
all just say their names then? Groot would just say Groot, and
We
then
would
like
find out.
his family would all just say like whatever, and would
They
that
would,
be a way of finding out that Groot's name is actually not Groot and it's just
yeah,
the
their
word that they
language, yeah.
use?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, this would probably be the easiest dialogue to write for a movie or show. So a whole bunch of people just saying, "I
Yeah,
am Groot."
but the action scenes, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
the CGI, oh my god, you know how much the CGI would cost? But,
mm,
yeah, there's really no talks of this at Marvel, there's really nothing from Marvel's end coming from this. I think it's more of a Vin Diesel is on the internet not wanting to let go of Groot and kind of, like, pushing and trying to get people to rally behind this and see if the internet can force Marvel into making this project with him. So,
mm.
I'm here for it if it was done right. I don't think it's necessarily we need it, but
Yeah,
if you're gonna
I'm
put
leaning
Groot.
more towards Rocket being the Star-Lord of the Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh, yeah, I would rather have
and
that first.
that's how we still have Groot. Like that's
Yeah.
how I want to still
Okay.
have Groot. I don't want
Yeah.
a standalone because we already have the Groot series
Yeah,
that
well,
came out,
we
and then
have,
we have
like,
the Christmas specials as Groot, and I'm just
sure.
like, okay,
Yeah, well, and we have Groot now who's with the new Guardians,
exactly.
uh, yeah, I don't know. There's no it probably don't make sense to even make this, be honest with you. And
I mean,
and listen
I'm sure
and
there are people out there that want it, and there are kids
yeah.
out there that would love this,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm sure that they would make their money out of it. But
I prefer Baby Groot more than anything, though, and I don't think there's a way to bring back Baby Groot. I mean,
unless you have 1,001 baby
yeah,
Groots
I
on this
mean,
home
like,
planet,
I love Baby Groot, so but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what sometimes the internet it has a way of making things happen that weren't planned. So we'll see what happens.
I
But
don't know. I feel like we need a Nova project before we need a Planet X
oh yeah,
project.
I would rather see a Nova project for yeah. I'm sure Brandon Davis would agree with you. So RDJ though, man, he's taking this Dune thing serious. They say that he is going through some intense prep for Doom right now. And he is actually writing the backstory of Dooms himself. Like literally, like he's reading all the comics, he's getting all the inspiration, from the Doom comics, and he is writing the backstory for his own character. He's also supposedly going to have his own say and help of designing the costume as well. Um, I hope this is okay. The costume thing, I'm like, maybe leave that to other people. I could be wrong, but him writing his
He's
own backstory,
stylish. Do it.
but him writing his own backstory, I love this. I love that he's
Yeah.
really diving this deep, and
Yeah.
and there's something about like when you have an actor who's getting this involved in a character into writing the backstory. I think it goes to show just how dedicated that this person is willing to bring this character to life.
Yeah.
And to me, when you're kind of writing this backstory, this allows you to know more of how this character would react and do things when you get
Mhm.
ready to film. And so it just feels that much more real. And as we all know, I mean, like Robert Downey Jr. brought Tony Stark to life. I mean, he is Tony Stark in Iron Man.
Yeah.
And so I feel like he is literally taking his if every ounce of how much he took Tony Stark serious, he's taking that to Doom, if not a whole nother level
Yeah.
serious. Because like he
Yeah.
wants to make this a success. He wants to make this work. So, internet's torn with how they feel about RDJ being used as Doom. But I think this is great news. I think this is a great thing to hear. And I love this guy. God, I love
I
him.
love Robert Downey Jr. I love like his come up story and that he's been,
Mm,
here since the 80s. He's been in movies. He continues to
hmm
grow and become the things that he is now. And I love that he's in the comics and he's writing his own story and he's so involved as he is. And I mean, like even if you're not a part of like really understanding like how the costume's supposed to look, shit, I don't know anything about graphic design and
hmm
I like helped with our logo, right? Like
Yes, you did definitely.
so like I think that like he's
I'm not saying you
seeing
couldn't
all
do
of the
bad. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So like I just think that like him seeing all the stuff in the comics, like comics are very
Mhm,
colorful, very bright. He sees all of the iterations of how Doom used to look, and I think him reading the comics and also developing his actual um costume I think would be really cool, and it means that it'll probably have more of an homage to the comics. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that.
Yeah. Man, I'm so ready to see this after credit scene this year of him. Like, I'm ready just to see him on screen, even if it's just like a 2-second deal of him as Doom. I'm ready to get some kind of visual.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I'm really am hoping that we're going to see it in Fantastic Four. We do have that rumor. We don't know for sure,
yeah, and I'm
but
anxious to hear
good
too,
Lord,
like what his
I need
voice
to
is
see
going to
it.
sound like. Like, is it going to sound just like Robert Downey Jr.'s voice, or is he going to put some kind of change or twist into it? I'm super curious to find that out.
Mm.
And I really think that I could be wrong, but it being RDJ, it being Robert Downey Jr., I don't think they're going to go with a scarred up face with Doom like he has in the comics. I don't think he'd let them do that, which
I
is
don't
fine.
know.
I mean, it's whatever. That don't really bother me at all.
I mean, he
Uh,
played a super old man in Oppenheimer.
yeah. Oh God, he nailed that
That
character.
he nailed it.
Mm,
So, I mean, I think that he would let him do it for the
yeah.
sake of the comic. I think he would.
So speaking of Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars, Russo
Hmm.
brothers in an interview, were kind of asked, hey, do y'all, kind of have something in mind of what the run times would be of these movies? And they say, if we were a betting man, this is probably what we would have for these two movies right here. Is Avengers Doomsday is probably going to be about a 2.5-hour movie, and then Secret Wars is going to be about a 3-hour movie. So yeah, I prefer both of them to be 3 hours, but hey, I won't complain if that's 2.5 and 3.
I will take what I can get. Like,
Yes,
I am
just
happy.
don't make them no shorter than 2.5, please.
Don't make them any shorter than 1.5 for me. Like, as long as it's like
It's a lot of
I
story
would
to be
prefer.
telling.
So that's what I'm saying is I would like it to be as long as it is, or even
Mhm,
longer. Both 3 hours absolutely would be great. But with us getting, all of these movies to lead up, like Fantastic Four first steps, and it's supposed to lead up to Doomsday.
mhm,
I think that, we're getting a lot of backstory that we would have gotten in just one movie in these like separate other movies, and I think that's important. And which is why we're not getting a 3-hour movie. Also, people's attention spans are not what they used to be,
mhm.
as we see with like TikTok and things like that. So I think that keeping them like within that 3-hour limit, 3-hour max, like as
Right.
I would love to see a 10-hour movie, because I would. I don't think that is
I'm here for it.
logistical.
Give us the
um,
good Lord of the Rings extended edition 4-hour movie. I mean, give us one more extra
dude,
hour. Come on.
right? You're
Peter
right.
Jackson did it. You can
I
do
mean,
it.
dude, yeah. Do you think, do you think that they would have like or like deleted scenes or whatever, or an extended version of Secret Wars that would be like a 4-hour
Mm,
movie?
I don't know. So I don't think they could ever do an extended version. If they were to ever do an extended version, it would have to be the one and only version. Just because like it's so detrimental, like it's so crucial. I mean, the storytelling points that I don't
Mm.
think you could have a regular one and people watch that and be like, but for you hardcore fans, there's this, because then there would be that much more added to the story that everybody would just have to know. I think.
Well,
I don't know.
no, no. I mean, like it's the same thing with like any type of extended
Just
edition. It's
extended
just
scenes.
extra, exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit here, a little bit there, and like
It
the same
adds
thing
up.
when you're watching The Office and
Sure.
when you're watching the Office cuts of like the actual longer versions, the
Sure.
extended versions of The Office. It's not that it adds so much to The Office that if you didn't have it, you'd lose the part of the story. It's just that it's extra
Yeah.
scenes
Yeah. You're
of
right. You're
like the
right.
things that you love.
Well, if
And
they're going to give us extended anything, I would not turn it down. Like, so.
And I think that once they release it, like they
Mm.
would release it for the theater version, we would all would see it. We would all would love it because we're all gonna love it. Let's be honest.
Are we going to love it?
And then
Yes.
and then we're gonna get the release out of it. And then I think that once they have that release, then they'd have the extended release as well.
Hmm.
If they do it, I
Yep.
don't think that they
So
would
Kevin
have like a
Feige,
specific. Yeah.
Russo brothers, Marvel. You heard Tay's pitch. You're welcome. Do what she said.
Do what she says.
Just our name
I'm
on the credits at the end. In special
I'm just
in
but a wee
special
little lad.
remarks. Just you can thank Taylor Stiff for this.
Or don't just do it. I don't
Yeah.
even need the credit for it. But
But
I think that
speaking, oh
that would
sorry.
be amazing. No, go for it.
So speaking of kind of extended stories. Spider-Man 4, which is coming in between both of these Avengers movies,
Mm-hmm.
kind of is talking about this movie will bridge the gap between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and that this can be more of a Doomsday sequel, which
Ooh.
please, 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 because I love this. Kind of like how Captain America Civil War was a Captain America movie, but it was really like another Avengers movie that kind of bridged the gap on a bit more Avengers storytelling. They're saying
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Rickman, is literally the one that leaked this and said that they're talking about Spider-Man 4 being more of a bridge the gap Doomsday sequel. So and as we know, the Spider-Man 4 movie has changed directions a couple of times, and Sony and Marvel's kind of went back and forth on both of their visions of this.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of hope this is what happens. But I do hope that it's one of those things where they don't necessarily have to direct it, but let the Russo brothers have their hand in overseeing with the director that movie if it is going to be like a Doomsday sequel, another Avengers carry on. Because
Yeah.
I think for it to work out like it needs to work out, that they will need to, they'll need to be a part of it. But I think this is smart. I think this is what they should do. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm here for
I
it.
mean, if that's the case, then theoretically you'd be getting a 4-hour Doomsday. Like we were talking about with the runtime. So I
Hmm.
think that would be awesome. I think that definitely, I love the fact that they're all working together, and Spider-Man 4 is supposed to be set up to Doomsday,
Right.
or yeah,
Or
Doomsday is a
follow
yeah,
after. Spider-Man 4 is
yeah.
a follow after. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Because like we were talking about in a couple of episodes before, where we talked about the fact that if Tom Holland is supposed to be in Doomsday, that he's gonna see Tony Stark as
Hmm.
Doctor Doom, Doctor,
Hmm.
or Victor Doom. So like, how would that play into him, and like, how would he deal with that? And I think that that is amazing that we are kind of getting that
Yes.
like
Yes. Yes. Yes.
carryover.
Yes. Oh man. But just between them three movies, there's gonna be so much, so much. It's gonna be
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
So something that's always been floating around on the internet for like the past 3 years, and we always get like little tidbits here, little tidbits there. You've heard some recent more talk about some Ghost Rider stuff, right?
Yeah, so Ghost Rider, like they've been kind of like fan casting it a lot, but Keanu Reeves has always been wanting to play Ghost Rider,
Yep.
and it's been his like childhood dream actually, really, to play it. There is an artist out there with the name Hassan, that posted on his Instagram a couple of his little art clips of it, and the internet is going absolutely crazy, wild for him to be for Keanu Reeves to play Johnny Blaze, and I
That's
mean
some sick
those
looking art. I ain't gonna lie.
right, right,
That's
like
probably the best
it's
fan art I've seen of a new Ghost Rider. I have not seen these till just now. Like, holy crap.
yeah, yeah. I was geeking out when I saw it because I was like, oh man, it's like
Yeah.
that homage to the Johnny Blaze that like Nicolas Cage kind of had with the
Hmm.
fire, in his face, but it's still it's Keanu Reeves' kind of like look added to it in that
Yeah.
kind of badass type of way, and I think he could pull it off, and I
Yeah.
would love to see him pull it off, even with him being at his age that he is. He's doing John Wick still, right?
Yeah.
Um, so
He's
I
he's a,
think
he's
I
a
think
great
that he
actor
could do
too.
it.
I mean, and like he takes his role so seriously, and like with that
Hmm.
being a childhood passion, his dream character to play, like he would go so hard for that role.
Yeah,
And we're due for a Ghost Rider. We're due. There's been so much Midnight Sun talk and stuff. So
right.
like let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Like I would
If
want him
not,
or Norman
like,
Reedus. Like that's the two people I would want to play
okay.
Ghost Rider. And those
Yeah.
both are kind of in the same age range. And like I naturally wouldn't necessarily want an older Ghost Rider, but them two actors right there, if they were picked, they would make me completely okay with an older Ghost Rider. However, they wanted
Hmm.
to tell that story, just
Yeah.
because of how great of an actor they are. Yeah.
Or I wonder that even if they did get picked to be like that in Ghost Rider, if they would be like that Sam Elliott role
Oh yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the
Yep.
original Ghost Rider, where he
On the
was a Ghost
horse.
Rider.
Uh,
Right. Right. So I wonder if they would do that with them because they are the older version, and they would be like bringing up whoever
yeah.
would be taking their spot. Or I mean, even if Keanu Reeves doesn't get picked as the actual like Ghost Rider look, then maybe even like a animated Ghost Rider where he could voice that. I think he would even be happy with that. But I think he absolutely rocks this look, and I love
I want
him
some
as
live
Johnny
action.
Blaze.
Let's get it live
Oh,
action.
let me be clear. I would prefer a live action, but if I can't get that, I will happily take an animated version. Because I just love Keanu Reeves' voice, and I love him as a
Yeah.
person. He's a
Oh, he's
total
a good
sweetheart.
guy. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I would absolutely love to see this continue.
So yeah, it kind of wraps us with Marvel. We just had some freaking exciting Marvel news to talk about. And while Daredevil's
Yeah.
out, we're going to be excited and on the Marvel hype. We stay on the Marvel hype here. We love Marvel, but man, with Daredevil out there, it's going to be that much more of a higher level. So just telling you all out there right now, get used to it. Okay, we're going to be on a Marvel high for a while. So I don't know. I don't
Absolutely.
know.
But are you ready to get the hype about some DC?
Let's check it out. So we got just a couple of topics this week for DC. Scurried on the internet, and there just was a whole lot. But one thing that so many people are ready for is Batman 2. And
Mm,
the last thing we had news on Batman 2 was it's delayed a full year. It won't be till 2027. Supposedly it's getting out. And Robert Pattinson was just in talks with someone just I think it was just some paparazzi, not paparazzi, but anyways, I think it was just some interview, a red carpet premiere or whatever. Somebody asked me.
Oh, probably for Mickey 17, the movie he has coming out
I
like
think so.
very
And
soon.
he's like, I actually will be starting production on Batman. Finally, he he said by the end of this year, as soon as I get done with Odyssey, he's immediately rolling into that. So we finally have a rough idea that the production will be starting toward the end of this year, which is great because last thing we heard, as well, not only did it get pushed back the year, but also Matt Reeves didn't have a full script yet completed for James Gunn. And
Yeah.
so with them kind of knowing that, I mean, sounds like they at least have a goal date for the script to be done and ready and get to rolling on that. Because another thing that Robert Pattinson said was like, I started out as a young Batman. He's like, I'm effing ready to get rolling on this because he's like, I'm about to not be young anymore. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, yep, that's about it on that. So like, at least we're getting a little bit more solid timeline, slowly, gradually getting a more solid timeline of Batman too.
I don't know. I really
Uh,
liked his Batman, so I'm
no,
excited to get some
no,
more footage and stuff out
yeah,
of him.
he's definitely got me intrigued to see more storytelling of it, and so
Mm.
I'm anxious to see the second project because I actually enjoyed the first Batman, and the Penguin series was amazing.
Mhm.
So yeah, to see more of the storyline told. And another thing that we kind of heard was that there's a possibility from these creators that we will not get a season 2 of Penguin. More of his story will not be told on the show as it will be just in maybe this next Batman movie. So
Yeah.
then James Gunn online on X kind of teased another Superman pick. Not much, but got a little bit of a snowy Superman boot pick. Which was like a kind of a year to date thing, if I'm not mistaken, of kind of the announcement of them doing Superman, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Good
that's what it was. I
good
think it's like
question. I don't know.
I think it's like a year ago was like the first announcement of him doing Superman. So that's kind
Okay.
of like the reason he released this. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. I'm sure someone will. So
Oh well. We're gearing up. We're putting the press out for this. It's the
right,
next
right,
biggest DC thing to come out. Because we had the
yeah,
Creature Commandos. That was phenomenal. Again, if
so
nobody's
great.
seen it, you need to
Yeah,
go see
do
it.
not sleep on Creature
Um,
Commandos.
yeah, especially because there's a season 2 that's supposed to be like they're
Yeah.
developing and having come out or whatever. But absolutely great. And we don't have anything until Superman comes out in July. So
Yeah, I'm anxious to see because there's like the internet is so 50-50 right now on rumors and early screeners and different things. And God, it's just so cool to hate on so much stuff nowadays. You really don't
mm,
know what to believe until you watch something yourself. But
yeah.
I'm super anxious and I'm really hopeful that this is good. I really am. To take on such a huge role of DC and knowing the weight that's on his shoulders of James Gunn, I don't think. I mean, look at Guardians. I mean, these are people that are not well known. He did really well and made these a fan favorite. I
Hmm.
have faith that James Gunn's going to do well with this. I really
Yeah.
do. So
Shit, dude, I didn't know anything about the people from Creature Commandos until actually like watching Creature
same,
Commandos, except for like Rick Flag Sr. That's
right?
really the only
Yeah,
person that we kind
majority
of
of
knew
them though.
something about, right? But a majority of them, yeah, I didn't know anything about them. And the amount of care and effort that he put into that show,
Yeah,
it very much showed,
and
if
the
you
way
will.
he made you feel emotions for people like Weasel, like the dude can write. The dude knows. The dude has a talent. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bring back emotion, resurface emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
And Dr. Phosphorus too. On top of that, but anyways, whew.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have high hopes. But
Hmm.
yeah, that kind of wraps us up from DC. Not a whole lot for that. Let's jump into some Star Wars.
Okay.
So Star Wars Celebration is in Japan,
Hmm.
April 18th through the 20th. And
Yeah.
my of all Star Wars celebrations, like I would attend any Star Wars celebration, but oh, I wish I could attend this one just because it's in Japan. I've always wanted to visit Japan, and you combine Japan with Star Wars, I mean, you're knocking out a pretty awesome feat. But
Right.
so we got some panels that will be on there, and one of the panels, which will be on the 18th, is the Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm kind of curious if they're going to show some scenes, like maybe the
Or maybe
first.
just some footage, or not footage
Yeah,
rather, but like just some just stills, pictures is the
yeah,
word I'm
yeah.
looking for.
I'll be okay with both, and I hope they leak out. Obviously we know they're going to come out, but hopefully, like after they release on that day, like that same day later that night, they're on the internet by Star Wars. That would be cool. So we get high quality, scenes or
Hmm.
footage. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we also have Andor season 2, which will be on the 19th, and then we also have Ahsoka season 2, which will be also on the 19th. So we'll have both of those panels on the same day, which will be on a Saturday.
Hmm.
And then on Sunday, we will have Visions Volume 3. So yeah, I think we'll have some neat stuff coming out. Like we've already know these are like the most solid things that are coming. We've talked about them on previous episodes, but hopefully we get some new footage, we get some new information, some more. They go a little bit more in depth than what's out there right now.
Yeah.
I think they will, especially for this being Star Wars Celebration. I mean, this is
Yeah.
their big thing that they do, and they haven't had one in 2 years. Last one was had 2 years ago. So, and I believe that was in London last year, or 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So,
I
if
know.
not,
This is the
yeah.
first time I've ever heard about it,
Oh,
and
really?
I think it's amazing. I really enjoy the fact that there's a Star Wars fandom still and that they're doing the things, and it's in Japan, so you know that there's a Disneyland out
Yeah,
there. And they most likely have. I don't really know much about Disneyland. I will be honest about Japan. Um, But if Disney World and Disneyland here in America has their own Galaxy Land, I wonder if the one in Japan also has that, and they have like exclusives that are going to be there in the Disneyland in Japan.
that'd be cool. That would be cool too. Like
Uh,
while you're there attending that, to also just go attend, like take a special day out of the Star Wars Celebration just to go to Japan's Disneyland.
yeah, do we know where the Star Wars celebration is actually going to be taking place? If it's going to be in Disney or if it's like at its own convention center or something?
I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
Star Wars.
And do we have a release date for Ahsoka season 2 yet? If not, that they might be releasing the actual
Uh,
date.
I could be wrong, but I don't think we actually have a.
Yeah, I don't
Mm-mm.
remember us having one. I know we have one for Mandalorian and Grogu, the movie, and we have Andor season 2 coming out, I think on the 22nd, so 2 days after the celebration's over. Um, so we're probably gonna get some more news about that then.
So it's being held at a convention center in Japan, and I'm probably going to
Okay.
butcher how to say this, so forgive me if I say this wrong. But it says it's going to be at the Makuhari Messe Convention Center. So
Okay.
I don't think it's actually inside Disneyland from what I'm seeing.
Okay.
So yeah, it would still
Mm.
be cool to take an extra day, especially when you're
Yeah.
going that far out of the country. Go ahead and spend a day at
Yeah.
Disneyland there. It'd be
Or
it'd be a heck of an experience.
yeah, especially like what I would do if I were to go to the celebration because I had that money. Um, I would go like the day prior, like on the 17th, I would go to Disneyland,
Oh,
specifically to Star Wars
the hype.
Land. Yeah, and then that way, like when I'm like sitting there, I would have gear from Disneyland that I would wear because I would probably also get some merch while I'm
Oh
at
yeah.
the Disneyland and stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how my brain went.
And Disneyland actually carries like really good quality cosplay stuff, like in the Galaxy's Edge and stuff. So
Uh,
yeah, I actually have. That's where I never would have thought it because you would think it would be like very touristy, cheaper grade, stuff that they would sell. But I actually have
no,
a Jedi cosplay from Galaxy's Edge, from California Disneyland, and it's like super good quality. I've not wore it to date yet,
yeah,
but like it's really good quality there, and it came from there. So
that that's so cool. I was trying to see if the Disneyland in yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. So the Disneyland in Tokyo,
uh-huh.
it definitely does have a Star Wars section. They have a Star Wars tour.
Do they have a
Uh,
Edge, or is it just like the Star Tours thing?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
I've only
Uh,
ever heard of Galaxy's Edge being talked about in California
yeah,
and Florida, so it may be
they
a
only have they only have them located in California and Florida. But I mean, they would definitely have like merch and
yeah,
specific.
yeah. Well, and as we all know, Star Tours has been around for decades, but they do upgrade and bring in new characters of Star Wars, when you're sitting there. So, I'm sure there's probably some updated characters kind of, intertwined on part of their Star Tours there.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all we had for Star Wars. Other than that, nothing else out there for us to, get super pumped about, but we're waiting on the edge of our seats. So, but
For
go
more
ahead.
information.
Right, right. And some good information. But we'll go ahead and jump into some educated wish. So I'll let you take the lead on this first half of news here.
Okay. So, the first things first is we got a little bit of an Alien Earth teaser, which was like really cool because it was kind of like in a documentary type, like you're filming with your phone, kind of like look to it because it's like
Okay.
it's like
I haven't
a
got to see it.
slimmer. Okay, so it's definitely available on YouTube if you haven't seen it, but it's got like a documentary vibe to it, like when people go to like space stations and stuff, like they record like their footage of what they're
Hmm.
doing and whatever. So it was kind of like that, but it was like on a phone type looking thing because it's very narrow, in portrait version, if you will, and you get to see like the I guess like one of the captains like talking, and he's just like like oh hey like look this is my cat, and he turns around to like this kind of like orange and white like tabby looking cat, and then for the rest of this time that we're watching this teaser that's like 2 minutes, it's from the point of view of the cat. Like they put like a camera
Oh,
on the
okay.
cat's like little belt because you see like the little
Mm-hmm.
like hairs just like hanging
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like running around around the ship, so you get to see like little pieces of the ship from their point of view, so it's very low to the ground. You do get to see a scene where they're playing gin. It's a card game if you've never played gin,
Mm-hmm.
which made me feel like really sentimental. And I was like, oh, my grandfather and I used to play gin. So
Okay. Okay.
they were playing gin, and like the girl, she like wins and she's like gin. And because like right before it, she's like, you want me to see, or do you want to see me defeat like an old man or whatever? Because the other captain is sitting across from her.
Uh-huh.
And then things start getting like a little squirrely because she's also talking about in that time right before she says gin, which is how you win the game of gin. Like you
Right.
get gin, you say it. So before she says that, like she's talking about the experiment that they're doing on the ship, which we all know is something to do with the xenomorph, and you're like, oh no, like things are about to go down. And so you get to kind of hear them talk about that, and then she says gin, and then you see the cat kind of running around again, and then all of a sudden things go like to bad, or go to like the bad side or whatever.
Okay.
you kind of get to see the cat like go up to one of the pods, and it's like a
Mm.
dude's face, and then all of a sudden it turns like red around it, and then someone's
Like
screaming
the glow of the.
yeah, the
Okay.
red like light. And then someone's screaming to get like a fire extinguisher. So uh now you're just like, oh man, like what happened?
What the
Why do
hell's
they need
going
a
on?
fire extinguisher?
Yeah.
And you know that's when like things are about to go sideways. So we know it's summer of 2025. We don't really know much else about like when we're getting this. We know it's on Hulu,
I'm so ready
um,
for this.
from FX. Yeah, it looks
They
good,
just keep
especially
building up
from
so much curiosity. Like,
right. We got like a little teaser, and then we got more teasers, and now we're getting this, and you're like, oh man, give me more, because we just saw it from like we saw
yeah,
Romulus, and
it was
that
so good.
was so good, so good. Um, so now we're getting Alien Earth, which is like before Alien, I think,
Like
is where it's
Aliens
supposed to be
always
on the
had
timeline.
a huge fandom, but like I would say just how well Alien Romulus, was done has
Hmm.
so sparked so much bigger fire, I think, in the fandom for Alien. Like it
Yeah.
just it was so good. I mean, like I grew up watching Alien Predator movies and stuff, and I love them, but I've always, been a Predator over Alien person for me.
Hmm.
Um, but I tell you what, Romulus, even inside me, like it's got me wanting more Alien. Like
Yeah.
it was, oh, it's just so great.
I love xenomorphs. You guys don't know, I did a Ripley cosplay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
definitely like
you
dressed
diehard
up, and
fan.
I did, yeah, yeah, and I'm pretty sure we posted them on
Mhm.
the
Yeah, you
page.
had a badass picture with a xenomorph in the theater, and I'm like,
Yep,
"Man," like, our theaters where I'm from, like, they don't do cool shit like that, but, like, that was so sick. Like, and it was like, was it lit up from the bottom, right? The bottom was lit up, and so, like, just the
it
way the
was like
light hit the xenomorph,
yeah,
it was so
yeah,
cool.
it was
So
in
cool.
like a cage, and it was like in a glass cage, but it was like
Yeah.
lit up like it was like a
It was,
an
like, life size,
experiment type
right?
looking thing. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
dude, that
yeah,
thing was taller than me.
yeah.
The thing was tall, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I will forever
um
be jealous of that picture.
yeah, so I can't wait to see like what all like other like things that we're gonna get
Mhm.
out of Alien Earth, and anytime that I go to the theaters, I'm immediately like looking for special things that are out, because I'm always excited about that kind of stuff. But we did get some news about Happy Gilmore 2. We finally got a release date. So it's in July, I think it's July 25th, 2025. So if July couldn't be more stacked, it is now, because now we have Happy Gilmore 2. So we have what we have Jurassic World Rebirth, we
Mhm.
have Fantastic Four, we have Superman, and now Happy Gilmore
You
2.
you know the month of July, we're not sleeping, right? 'Cause, there's something else in July. Oh, never
That
mind.
yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. No, I mean, you are going to
Yeah.
San Diego Comic-Con in July, which
Sorry,
is
I instantly just got
awesome.
sad, so
No, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, you're good.
Um, if you guys didn't know, I did have to back out of San Diego Comic-Con just because of work stuff. It just kind of didn't line up for me this year,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But
But I will be there with footage. I will be there
yes, I
representing.
would hope so. Yeah. I'm sure it's gonna be absolutely amazing.
I
But
just
Happy
really
Gilmore
hope I'm
2,
off of. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say,
yeah.
I really hope I'm off
No.
my crutches by then. Because you imagine being at San Diego Comic-Con on those? Oh my god.
Or, just get a little like zoomy wheelchair and be Professor
No,
X.
no.
Okay. You would get like premier access. You'd get the handicap seating though.
Oh. Alright, maybe I'll take the crutches whether I'm better or not.
Damn. Cold.
Oh,
But going back to Happy Gilmore,
yeah.
stacked cast. Can't wait to see it. Eminem is in it. I can't wait to see
I
what
yeah,
they do with
I
this.
am ready to see this one, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't make it a point to see all Adam Sandler stuff because he's very hit and miss for me, but I will
Hmm.
make it a point to definitely watch this.
I mean, it's on Netflix, so if you have
Right.
Netflix, you know. I don't know if they actually got it to be, because Adam Sandler wanted it to be in theaters for a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know if they got it approved or they're actually doing it yet. I
Mm.
didn't see anything about it. But in the comments, let me know if I'm wrong, if he did actually get them get Happy Gilmore to be released in theaters. I think it would be kind of poor timing because of everything that's happening during that month, and
Yeah,
because
it's
July.
probably best they don't.
Yeah, yeah. I really rather them not like lose the money on it, and
Exactly.
just
Right.
release it on Netflix where everybody can watch it. But
Oh, God.
so to continue our twisted childhood universe, if you guys don't remember, I talked about the Pooniverse, if you will, and that is the Winnie the Pooh that was Blood and Honey,
Yeah.
and then they had Blood and Honey 2. And now we're getting another film in that. And we talked
Another
about
one.
how we're going to have Pinocchio Unstrung and something about Peter Pan. I can't remember what that one was called.
Mhm.
But this one is called Bambi the Reckoning. We officially have a trailer that came out for this. And good Lord, I laughed. I laughed so hard. I know it's supposed to be like serious or whatever, but it's an installment of the Pooniverse. The trailer looks absolutely wild. Bambi looks like fucking stacked. But like,
Does Baby walk like a normal deer, or is he on 2 legs, walk around muscled up?
oh no, like Bambi is like a fucking adult in this, and it's on all fours,
Is he
and
getting
it has.
revenge for the murder of his mother?
Yes.
No way. Are you
It's
serious?
yes. Yes. It's in the synopsis, so if you read it on IMDb, and
Oh, wow.
it's like a mom and their kid are like driving in the wilderness or whatever, and if you haven't seen the trailer, you have to check it out because
I
like
have not.
Bambi like tears off somebody's leg.
Wow. Okay. I have to watch this.
Um and it like rips off a car door, and like it's completely wild and insane, and
So
I
Bambi
absolutely suggest
drank
it.
some super soldier syrup is what I'm hearing.
Bambi looks yoked is what Bambi looks like. Absolutely a terror. But it's supposed to come out on or originally it was supposed to come out in August, but now they're saying it's supposed to come out in the middle of 2025. So we don't have an exact date on
Okay.
IMDb. You will see that it does say August 15th, but that's just for Turkey.
Hmm.
We're supposed to get in the US, we're supposed to get a Bambi the Reckoning sooner. When you see the trailer, it just says coming soon, or it says 2025 or something like that, or it might not even say any date at all. I can't even remember
Hmm.
because I was pretty much in tears watching this
Right.
from how hard I was
Because my
laughing.
eyes were too blurry at the end.
But I can't wait for this to come to like Peacock so I can actually watch it, because there's no way that I'm going to go see this in theaters in the
Oh
middle
God,
of
no.
2025, because that's again June July timeframe, and I got too much going on at that point.
Hmm.
But on top of Bambi the Reckoning, we have something called Rumpelstiltskin, a movie that also has a trailer that is coming out, and the trailer is
Why does he look like an orc?
so he looks like a little gremlin, just like kind of running around, and I'm like, yo,
To
what
me,
the fuck?
that face, it looks like an albino orc from Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings.
no, I mean, like, it very much does have those types of vibes of like Gollum and an orc had a baby, and it's Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my
so
God, that's
it,
exactly what that looks like.
I'm sorry to ruin it for you,
I mean,
but
I think it ruined itself.
it, the trailer itself, like, it looks like it was made from like a third party type person, like it just looks weird, like it I don't know how I feel about it. It's supposed to come out April 7th, I think, so we're about a month away. But it's different, um is what I'm gonna say. It's very different.
Hmm. All of this fairy tale stuff from our childhood's twist is all a little different. So,
Yeah, so I mean, there's like a good way of doing it, and then there's like the bad way of doing it. Like we're seeing all of these Mickey Mouse,
yes, there's like
like,
3 different. I think there's like 3 different ones.
there's more than three, but yes,
But
there are a gajillion at this point because him and Popeye both were
Yeah,
able
I forgot
to
about Popeye.
the Popeye the Slayer man.
Yeah,
um, but yeah,
contaminated spinach.
um,
Oh,
but when
yeah.
things go to public domain is when we get things that are funny. And I do love a good horror movie, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
always here to try it out. I've watched Lamageddon. All right, I have watched some wild things like Toxic Avenger, which wasn't supposed to be funny, but was very funny, and I cannot wait for Toxic Avenger
Oh, I'm ready for
with
that.
Peter Dinklage to come out.
Yeah.
Um,
And Spencer
but
Wilding.
Rumpelstiltskin, yeah. But Rumpelstiltskin, this trailer doesn't look good. I'm sorry.
Mm,
It doesn't. Not to me anyway. You do what you can with the budget that you have, but
right.
I don't know. I kind of don't care for it. And that's how I feel about it. But going on to brighter, happier news, win or
Way
lose.
brighter.
Yeah, Win or Lose is the first ever original Pixar series that Pixar has ever done. And I did talk about it when it first came out with the first two episodes, and then I kind of forgot that it was a thing, I'm going to be honest, last week. And I caught up on all four episodes because they come out two at a time. Um, so the finale is going to be next Wednesday, and it's the final two, so 6 and 7, I believe. Or
Okay.
no, 7 and 8. Sorry, because 5 and 6 was this week. And absolutely, I still love it. It's absolutely adorable. They're like 25-minute, if that. No, I think they're like 15-minute like episodes. They're super short, and it all revolves around this one softball team. And then you get to see the different characters and how their lives are affected by the softball, or like. So the first one was the coach's daughter. The second one was the umpire that was on the team. The third one was the mom of one of the people on the team. The fourth one was one of the girls. Yeah, one of the girls that was like really smart, and she has like a different persona. So number three was like the mom, and number four was the kid,
Mm,
and how her mom, who wanted to just be an influencer, how that had her feeling, and how she had to become the adult, and she wasn't really ready to take on that role, and
hmm
she has to be the adult and look after the finances and has to worry about all of that kind of stuff, and she was putting more weight on herself than she should have, and how that all worked, and it was very touching, very emotional. Number five was about one of the people on the team. They have a brother named Ira. The person on the team, her name is Taylor, and that's Ira. And he looks through this little tube, and he sees the world completely different, and it's absolutely adorable.
mm,
He makes up stories in his mind, like how you do when you're a child, right?
uh-huh.
And you're like, that, like, oh, if you see that like your parents are fighting, or like you see that like your sister is now in a romantic relationship, and she was like your kind of like was supposed to be taking care of you, but now she's more interested in a boy. But now
Hmm.
she's like, he like looks through this like little binocular monocle looking thing, and he sees the world completely different, and he thinks of like, oh, the aliens invaded, and now mom and dad are like fighting because they have to take care of whatever, it's absolutely adorable. But he gets in with the wrong crowd, and he ends up stealing, and he makes it like he feels like super bad about it, and that's what that whole story of episode 5 is. Episode 6 is Taylor, who was um the the kid's sister.
Hmm.
So she's on the team. She wants to become a catcher, like on the team, and Ewan, who is the pitcher, and it's their love story, and you get to see how Ewan's like heart. He has himself like living in his heart, and how he wants to be this like bad boy on the outside, but on the inside he's just like, no, don't do that. I don't know why you're acting like that. And you know how like how
Yeah.
kids act, like on the
Yeah.
outside they have this whole persona, but you know on the inside that they're really
Right.
feeling a different type of way. Um, so you really just get to see how their relationship starts and then how it like and then it develops into whatever, right? Uh, and they end up like breaking up, so everything is like the world is ending. Because they're like in middle school. But um, what the like what's really cool about this whole series is that everything's intertwined somehow, and you see pieces of it, and then it like in like number 5 in episode 5 where you get to see Ira is just trying to hang out with his sister Taylor, and she ends up like fawning over Ewan. And then now in episode 6, you're seeing that from somebody else's perspective. And
Oh, okay.
I just really like how it's
Yeah.
all kind of intercoursing, but also kind of on their own
Right.
story.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
get caught up
So
on it. I have to watch this.
yeah, I absolutely recommend it. If you liked Inside Out, you're more than likely going to like this. It is kind of more geared towards kids and
Mhm.
understanding emotions and like how things affect other people. In my eyes, anyway, I haven't really seen anybody really else talking about this, but I absolutely enjoy win or lose right now. Because if somebody's going to win, somebody else is going to lose.
Right. Sounds like it's a good one for younger kids to learn and
Hmm.
be, understand how
Yeah,
things work and maybe address some things that they're dealing with currently. So,
yeah.
in a positive manner.
Hmm. Yeah. So absolutely recommend it. The finale is going to be on the 12th of March for the last 2 episodes. So I'll be talking about those next week
Nice.
um, as well. But to talk about like more adult news, Pierce Brosnan has recently said that he would be okay with coming back into James Bond. Now, would that mean that he's actually coming back as 007 himself
Probably
or a
not.
mentor,
Yeah.
or how would that look? Nobody really knows, and we don't really know who's going to be the new James Bond since Daniel Craig has stepped away from it. So,
And let's
who's the
be
next one?
honest, he's no young spring chicken anymore. So,
Right, but like would he actually have a speaking role? Would he just be like a
mhm.
cameo, or would he be like the new M or
Yeah, that would make
something?
sense for him to kind of like replace Judy Dench and be like the new him. That would be kind of cool because I love Pierce
Yeah,
Brosnan. I'm not gonna lie, like him, even him at his older. There's just something about the guy. He's just so cool and
he's so
smooth.
suave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. But even as Doctor Fate, he was my favorite character from Black Adam. But I love Pierce Brosnan. So if
Mrs.
he,
Doubtfire.
yeah, yeah. Oh man, there's man, the '90s was huge with him. Also, Thomas Crown Affair. If you've not watched that, that is a great movie with him. Oh, you talking about just slick, like if you've not watched Thomas Crown Affair, that is a movie that holds true. It's timeless. It's another great one. You
Okay.
would really really like. It's him and Rene Russo.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
who's
definitely.
Rene Russo?
She was another big actress that was really big. I think in the say like in the '90s, definitely.
Okay.
But if definitely put that on your list. Like you would y'all would love it.
Okay. But on sadder like Disney type news, Disney actually was supposed to come out with a Tiana series based off of the Princess and the Frog, but it has since been canceled
Oh no.
due to reasons unknown. But we do know with what's going on in the world, maybe that had something to do with the cancellation. We don't really know as to why
It
they
kind of
canceled it, or
that
maybe they
sucks
have a lot on their plate. Yeah.
because especially we know the new Tiana ride just debuted over the past year at Disneyland.
The Bayou one. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep, that just opened up this past year, so it'd be kind of cool to have a series come out, roughly in the same time the new ride. I don't know, kind of respark that character, because I mean that is a huge fan favorite. So
Yeah, absolutely. So it was just um I don't know. I don't I absolutely loved Princess and the Frog, and I um like Encanto, and I really do enjoy what Disney has been doing when
Hmm.
they do not live action movies, because those are something
Yeah.
else. But like with their original characters and Coco, and I just
Oh yeah.
just
And Kanto is
the,
one of my favorites. Oh
yeah,
my god.
absolutely amazing. I watch it at
I'm
least every 3 months.
I'm gonna say I'm slightly ashamed of how much I've watched Encanto. So,
Why? It's
I guess
good.
I'm not ashamed. I love it. It's just so good from start to
Good.
finish. It's not like some of those movies you're like, oh, I love this part, and I love this part, but then there's this moment. No, it's just great from start to finish, and you'll
Yeah.
sing the songs for days because they'll be stuck in your head.
Yeah.
But Invincible, we had a new episode, and we're about to wrap this series up. But
Got
yeah,
you.
spoiler warning. We're about to break it down. So if you haven't watched it yet, pause this, check it out, come back. But here we are. This is a great season. This is the episode is wild. Angstrom Levy finally makes his move, unleashing an army of evil alternate dimension marks on Earth. The destruction is massive, and for the first time, Mark is literally fighting himself, a whole bunch of himself from different universes. The action, freaking brutal. The stakes, higher than ever. Buildings crumble, heroes fall, and Mark is completely overwhelmed. This is Invincible at his best, high impact fights with real emotional weight. Like every episode of this series is bringing it. And the huge highlight of this one is Steven Yeun's voice acting. He plays 18 different versions of Mark, all with distinct personalities. Some are ruthless, some are broken. It's a masterclass truly in voice work. Like, God, this guy's so talented. But this
Hmm.
episode really drives home the theme that Mark is his own worst enemy. Like, literally. It's probably one of the biggest struggles I've seen him have. But now we're going to kind of talk into like the big heartbreaking moment of what happens. Rex explode and a desperate moves gives it everything to save his team. His final words to Mark, make this mean something. Boom. Gut punch. And it shows that Invincible doesn't shy away from real consequences. I mean, like there's deaths in this that you don't want to see. It's wild. But just when you think it couldn't get crazier, boom! At the very end, Conquest arrives. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is here. Walking Dead, both of them. The episode ends with him standing over the battlefield, looking at Mark and saying, "You were supposed to prepare this planet, not destroy it." If you know the
Damn.
comics, you know this is huge. Conquest is one of the deadliest filtermites, and Mark is not ready for what's coming. And then literally, that's how it ends. Like it's action packed, and it's so good. This season is definitely surpassed season two by crazy, hugely. I what was really crazy is I didn't realize until later after I watched it that Steven Yeun voiced all the different marks because like they sound that different. Like they do not even sound like the same guy. Obviously the
Hmm.
visuals don't, but it was kind of wild to hear him voice 16 different versions of himself. But yeah, if you have not watched season three because season two wasn't, it was kind of to you, do not sleep on season three. I think there is one more episode left, or maybe two. I can't remember, but yeah,
Okay.
it's really close to wrapping up, and we'll continue, covering this. All right, we're going to delve into the latest episode of Severance, season two, episode 8. Titled Sweet Vitriol. This episode offers a profound exploration into the backstory of Harmony Cobell. I hate this woman. And she's portrayed by Patricia Arquette. Like, I literally can't stand her character. The narrative begins with Harmony returning to her desolate hometown, Salt Neck, a community devastated by Lumen Industries' abandonment. Here, she reconnects with two pivotal figures from her past, her Aunt Sissy Cobell, a staunch Lumen devotee, and Hampton, an old acquaintance who harbors deep resentment towards the corporation. As the story unfolds, we uncover that Harmony's mother, Charlotte Cobell, suffered from ether addiction, a consequence of Lumen's influence in the town. This personal tragedy becomes the catalyst for Harmony's creation of the Severance chip, a groundbreaking technology that Lumen later appropriated without acknowledging her contribution. And she had it hidden. The episode masterfully portrays Harmony's internal struggle, her unwavering loyalty to Lumen, juxtaposed with the personal losses she endured due to the company's actions. Visually, the depiction of Saltnik stands out, symbolizing the broader consequences of corporate negligence on small communities. The town's decay serves as a poignant backdrop to Harmony's journey, emphasizing the themes of loss and resilience. in essence, Sweet Vitriol not only enriches our understanding of Harmony Cobell, but also challenges us to reflect on the ethical ramifications of corporate dominance and the personal sacrifices made in its shadow. Like this was a good episode to watch. It was interesting to kind of see an area in the Severance show that we've not seen yet, and to get a little more background of Harmony. I hate this woman. Like, it goes to show how great of an actress Patricia Arquette is, because like
Hmm.
she really makes you hate her character. Uh but yeah, I mean, it was a super depressing episode, because
Hmm.
the whole town, and like how it's, it really depicts it, and how it suffered from Lumen. It's super depressing. Like the color scheme of everything. I mean, it's just gray and drab, and people like are homeless. People are really getting by, and they're still like huffing rags of ether from this ether plant that's there. But I know this is like, it's important to have this episode in there to continue on the story, and know some of the background on it, just so things make more sense. But I
Hmm.
am curious to see, like, is she going to like get revenge and burn this down? Because it seems like, she was so in depth. She worshipped this company and Kier. And then what was crazy to find out was, I can't believe she's the one that kind of was the mind behind all of this, because at first they made you think that she was just this worshiper of Kier, and she was this super, dedicated person. We come to find out, a lot of this was her mastermind, but they completely cut her out of it. But like, her personal notes she had hidden, and she
Hmm.
went back there to find that, just to prove that this was all hers. I'm curious to see what she does with the information now that she has the proof, but I don't know. We shall see. There's also 1 or 2 episodes of this. Like, there's so many series that we're going through right now that's close to wrapping up, and I'm anxious to see how this season ends. I'm scared of the cliffhanger it's going to leave us on, because I love this show. Like, this is probably one of my favorite shows, top favorite shows I've seen in past 10 years. But yeah. But this past week, you streamed War of Rohirrim, right?
Yeah, so I finally watched War of the Rohirrim. And it was over like the weekend that after I did the episode with you, and I finally watched it. It's on Max. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. The visuals were beautiful. It had a lot of Studio Ghibli vibes to it, with just like the animation style that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was breathtaking. It was a beautiful story. And I talked to um one of my friends that like watches the show, and he was talking about like how he absolutely loved it too. He's a big Lord of the Rings fan,
Yeah,
and
it's on my
he
list.
was
Like, I'll probably watch it in the next week.
yeah, he was talking about like the different ways that it could go. If they were to continue the storyline, because it is like set like 3,000 years before the ring was actually a thing.
Right.
And you got to see it at the end. And dude, Saruman did come up because we talked about it. I talked about it a couple of, episodes ago, how we had Christopher Lee. It was
Mm-hmm.
actually his voice. He had these actual lines, and he had recorded it before his passing. And he
How
came
did
up
that
on the
hit?
screen. I cried. I'm
Oh.
not even lying. I
Mm.
was sitting there and I literally started crying. And I was sitting next to AD, and I like looked at him, and I was just like, that was just so touching.
And
Like,
that's such an
it was
iconic voice. Like, it's
it
such a
is.
distinct, iconic voice.
Yeah, and the fact that they didn't AI it, it was really his voice, and it was really him talking. It just really hit different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Watching it and realizing that like yeah, he was gone already by the time that they started making this, but
Mm.
uh because his voice is so iconic that they wanted him in it, because it does start to talk about how he is now the Lord that
Oh,
is like
really?
over. Yeah, it's before
Okay.
him turning into Saruman, like the bad,
Right.
right? So they talked about how he is now like the guy that's like overseeing the things before he turns bad. So I would like to see that storyline continue, to see how he went from being good into being bad. I don't know how they would do it, but God, if you haven't seen it, super
Yeah.
do recommend if you do like Lord of the Rings.
And it's a good length movie. It's 2 hours. So
Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed it, and like I said, it's on streaming. So if you have Max, I recommend that you just give it a watch.
So even with it having that Studio Ghibli feel on the animation, like it still very much embodies that Lord of the Rings feel too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No,
Like it definitely had like you you had elephants. You had like the still only
no,
counts as one.
Oliphant.
Um, yeah. So like you had a couple of those, and it's yeah,
That's great.
it
That's
was
great.
absolutely great. Yeah.
So another series that we are watching is Reacher, and it's just a fun action series. And I love Alan Richardson playing this character, but gonna break down episode 5, season 3. This is titled Smackdown. Jack Reacher continues his undercover mission to dismantle Xavier Quinn's expansive criminal organization. The episode begins with DEA agents Susan Duffy and Guillermo Villanueva investigating a factory linked to Zachary Beck. Their operation is compromised when Quinn's men ambush them, leading to a deadly gunfight. And Reacher goes in there and just takes them all out but one. Reacher attempts to warn Duffy and Villanueva by contacting agent Steve Elliott. However, Quinn's bodyguard, John Cooper, brutally kills Elliott, which I was sad to see, to escape the capture, intensifying the peril surrounding the investigation. It's such a sad scene. Like, oh my God. Reacher and Duffy regroup to assess their strategy. They discover that Beck's maid, Annette, was actually an undercover ATF agent in this. And tragically, Annette is killed by Beck's enforcer, Polly. And this is one big dude, highlighting the ruthless nature of Quinn's operation. Like Polly is, you think like Alan Richardson is huge. Like when they're standing next to each other, you're like, okay, he looks like he looks like a hobbit now. Like I don't know. I know they film different things to make people look bigger than they are in real life. I think this
Mm-hmm.
guy is legit this big though. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's ginormous. I would not want to piss him off. But a pivotal moment occurs when Reacher confronts Polly, challenging his authority. Despite Reacher's formidable skills, Polly overpowers him, underscoring the significant threat he poses. I mean, he literally just takes one hit, knocks him to the ground. But
Damn.
the episode concludes with Reacher and Duffy planning a citywide blackout to ambush Cooper. Their plan goes haywire when Cooper kills Villanueva, escalating the stakes and setting the stage for a climatic showdown with Quinn. And literally, she's like, "Hey, don't kill him because like he's thought he killed him a long time ago, and come to find out he's still alive." And she's like, "No," she's like, "We got to find this girl that's missing." And he's like, I need to take this guy out before he does more bad. She's like, "Yeah, but this girl is who could be missing. You know, we may not find her if you kill him." And he's like, "She's already dead. I got to take care of him." And she's like, "No, don't." And they hang up on each other. And literally, like, it ends on the scene. The guy he's undercover working for, he's like, "Well, you ready to meet the boss?" And he's like, "Oh, I've been waiting years for." He's like, "I've been waiting a while for this." And it literally shows him reach for his gun in the back, and it blacks out and ends the episode. But yeah, it's fun. It's so good. Just a lot of I don't know. It's like I said before, it's not one that's like, oh my god, it's amazing writing and stuff, but it's just such a fun series. I'm anxious to see Alan Richardson in more stuff too, because I feel like with his Reacher character, they make him very dry and
Mm,
to the point, which his character is supposed to be.
yeah.
So I get that. But with the different talks of people wanting him to be Batman because of his build and different stuff, and I think he said that he would like to be Batman. I would like to see him that kind of elevates more of his acting to see what else he can bring to the screen. So but yeah, Reacher, not watching it, watch it. It's definitely worth it. It's fun. It's always a great one.
Okay.
But yeah, that kind of wraps us up this week on Educated Wish. You got some gaming news for us, don't you?
I do.
All right.
All right, so I really only have two things to talk about. The first one is very extensive. So if all of you know anything about Destiny, they have a developer stream that they do prior to the actual content dropping. So we're going to be talking about Destiny 2 Heresy Act 2, the developer stream, which releases on the 11th of March, so this coming Tuesday. So the first thing that they really talk about in this developer stream is the Court of Blades, which looks really just great. They have these augmentation bubbles rather than the regular boons that we have right now for the Nether when you're doing those activities. So this kind of reminds me of like Nether kind of meets Onslaught because it gets more difficult every 2 rounds, is what they're saying. But there is a expert mode if you want those adept weapon drops. And now we're going to talk about those actual weapon drops themselves because, dude, the weapons look absolutely amazing, and I can't wait for one of them, or actually a couple of them. Let me be honest, all of them. But so the first thing I want to talk about, the first weapon is called Refusal of the Call. It is a glaive, and it is our first ever strand glaive. It's the second one that goes into the kinetic spot. It's the second ever kinetic glaive, but it is a strand glaive on top of that, which is the first ever one that we've ever seen. It's got like these really cool bone legs on its blade.
It looks pretty
Um,
wicked.
it looks badass. All of these weapons look just goddamn amazing. The next weapon is called Nemesis or Anamnesis. So anemone. But it is the void light bow frame like weapon, and it looks absolutely amazing. People are saying that it's going to be taking over Le Monarch, which is your exotic void bow that you have right now, in your second slot. So I'm absolutely excited to use this because I love Le Monarch, and this bow looks absolutely amazing. The more kills that you get with it, the origin trait makes it reload faster. Uh, Absolutely amazing. So cool. The next weapon is called Division, and it's got Vault Shot, baby! It is our first ever heavy burst sidearm. And what a heavy burst is it's going to shoot 2 rockets at once, or 2 of its ammo, rather, at once. And its arc and the fact that it has Volt Shot is absolutely amazing because we all know we love Volt Shot on our weapons. After that, you have Afterlight, which is the Void Fusion Rifle. And the really cool thing about this is if you look at it, like those lines that come off of it, those get brighter with every kill that you get.
That looks pretty sick, I ain't gonna lie. Just the visual looks so cool.
So those are your 4 new weapons. There is another weapon that they are adding to, which is the submachine gun that you got from the exotic quest. It's called Borrow Dyad.
Okay.
And it's a submachine gun. It's really fun to use. It's really wonky looking.
Yeah, that does
But
not look like a gun to me.
it's absolutely amazing to use. I've used it a lot, just like running around and shooting things because it's a lot of fun. But they're gonna have 2 new perks that are gonna come with it. So you're gonna be able to get those perks by doing the probably quests that come with it. The same thing with the other weapons that we've had when you're getting more origin, or not origin traits, but other trait perks that
Gotcha.
go into the first and second slots. But they also did talk about Act 3 coming in April. And before we get into really what Act 3 is going to look like, though, they did also talk about Guardian Games. That drops on the same day that the Act 2 drops. So if you look at it, all of the armor sets are right there, and they're very gladiator themed, whereas other ones have been like just
That looks
kind
pretty
of
cool.
other themes. This is very gladiator themed, which is super awesome, super neat. And you're gonna get the armor through like the Eververse, just getting bright dust, so you just have to complete more things to get more things, pretty much. And it really just makes the play level of playing Destiny that much more. Is like you want to play Court of Blades so you can get these extra weapons. Also, when you keep playing, you get more bright dust, and if you get more bright dust, then you can get this armor set that you're getting for the Guardian games. There are 3 weapons that are gonna be coming back. There's a rocket launcher, a scout arm, scout rifle, sorry, scout rifle, and I think an auto rifle. The Hababaloo is what the rocket launcher is called. The Terra Corpse is what the Strand scout rifle is, and then the title is, I think, that what the auto rifle is. But the biggest thing that really is coming out of Act 3 um, is that they have a new event, and this event looks so amazing. It's called Rite of the Nine, so RITE, Rite of the Nine. If you guys remember, it's kind of like very prophecy-esque. What they're going to be doing with this Rite of the Nine is that they're going to be bringing back, not bringing back, but really highlighting 3 of the dungeons, which you have Prophecy, Aspire of the Watcher, and Ghosts of the Deep. And when you're in there, it's a very limited event, and it's going to be one highlighted dungeon per week, and it's going to kind of like roll. So like the first one's going to be, let's say, Spire of the Watcher. The second one is going to be Prophecy, then Ghosts of the Deep, and then it's going to continue to roll until they have the event completed. I don't really know how long this event's going to last for, but it's kind of like when they were doing the raids. I forgot what they were calling that, but when they had like the raid type contest mode, it's kind of like that, but with dungeons. So dungeons now have like first dungeon races when they have a new dungeon release, but these dungeons were like older dungeons, so they didn't really get to have those type of contest modes. So they're bringing them back so people can play them on different types of modes that are going to be out there. So there are going to be 3 different type of modes. There's going to be an explorer mode, which is for new players who want to experience the dungeon and also kind of just learn it. So there's going to be prompts that come up, and you're going to be able to learn how to do the mechanics of the dungeon overall before you go into the next mode, which is going to be Eternity mode. They didn't really give a whole heck of a lot of information on what that all is, but they did for Ultimatum mode, which is the 3rd mode. Ultimatum mode is where players who have the experience of like really learning the raid, getting to know it, go back into it, and now everything is harder. They're really there for the end game content to get those weapons. These also, when you beat the dungeon, it gives you adept weapons as well. So it's gonna be harder to play, but it's gonna it's for those people out there that just really want to learn it. Explorer mode is also really cool because if you've never soloed the dungeon, like me, I've never soloed a dungeon before. I'm not afraid to say it. But there are people out there that have, like AD. AD has soloed like 3 dungeons at this point.
Oh,
but
wow.
if you want to get to know how to solo it, you can go into Explorer mode by yourself and just try to learn how to do it by yourself at a lesser of a threat. Which is really cool. And then they have the last thing that they talked about, like right before he was like, and that's all. Oh, just kidding. There's one more thing that we want to talk about in this like developer, the developer stream, and that is heavy metal. So it's a PvP Act 3 mode that they're gonna have coming out, and god damn it, it looks amazing. You get into like little fucking speeders, or you get into the big like Hydra like fucking tanker looking things, and you're like fighting in those, and you have your own tactics that come out of that, which I think is really neat and cool. And I'm always here for like fucking people up with like cars and stuff.
This makes me
with
want to get
weapons.
into Destiny, just looking at all these pictures of these updated things.
Yeah, so Destiny has been having kind of like a hit and miss type thing, but with how Destiny is heading, it kind of looks like Destiny is back. And I'm excited for it. I've been playing Destiny for like 8 years of my life. So I am here for it.
Yeah,
I
because
can't
just a
wait to
couple of
play it.
months ago, you kind of like were talking about some, people really being worried about it.
Yeah, we were kind of worried after Final Shape dropped because then we started going into Axe and we weren't really sure how that was going to go. And then they were doing this free game content, and we're like, why are we still paying for it? Like, what are we getting out of it? So there's access to certain things like dungeons that you have to pay to in order to play. So it's kind of like they're trying things out and they're adding new modes that still keep us engaged, like the Court of Blades, where we can kind of test our skills still and get back in there and just kind of play with people. You don't have to play with people, like, but you can. Because Court of Blades is like a match made looking activity. Same thing with the Nether when you're going into those. Same thing with Onslaught. But you also have your like solo type activities that you can do, like dungeons by yourself if you so choose, or
Okay.
PvP where you fight different people. But that's it for Destiny news and all of the news that came out with that developer stream, which was a lot. That's just the narrated,
That's great
the
though.
shortened version. Yeah. If you guys like want more information, Destiny 2 definitely has their own actual developer stream that's like 53 minutes.
Okay.
That is on their YouTube.
Wow.
That is where I watched it, and it was absolutely worth it because you get to see the more in-depth thinkings of like why they did certain things. And the developer that made all of those guns, she also talked about how, like, okay, well, this is the perk that you're going to want for these guns, or these are the couple of perks that you'll want for these guns. But if you're more into PvP, these are the types of perks that you can have onto these guns to make it more along your playing style, which I thought was really neat because usually I just have to like fuck around with some weapons until I find out. But the last thing that is in the gaming segment is GTA 6. It's something that I've been talking about for a really long time, just because they keep on having little news about it, and they keep saying it's coming out in 2025, and then we haven't really still heard anything. So they just came back out and said, yeah, we're still coming out in fall of 2025. So
So
we'll
actually they
see.
give a okay. I know
Yeah, it's a more narrowed. It's not
right.
definite, because it's not a date. It's just
Narrowed in
fall
at
of
least on its
2025.
season.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, people have been
Um,
wondering and waiting for this for a minute.
yeah, we've been waiting for another trailer because the first trailer dropped like fucking 3 years ago at this point.
Oof.
Probably only 2 years ago, let me be honest, but
Yeah.
it's still a long time. So we're just sitting here waiting. I'm kind of over GTA. That's just me.
Mhm.
Grand Theft Auto. That's not my thing anymore. I'm more into the Destiny and Monster Hunter Wilds, which has been absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to play it as soon as I get done with this.
Yeah, I've been hearing good things about Monster Hunter Wild.
I I've been a fan of Monster Hunter for 10 years now. I've played Monster
Okay.
Hunter 4, Rise, Iceborne. Dude, like I'm all about Monster Hunter. First thing I played it on was the Nintendo 3DS. So, absolutely love it.
So, ready to jump into some con spotlight?
Let's go.
So, this week's con spotlight is Steel City Con. This is April 4th through the 6th in Monroeville, Pennsylvania.
Why
I
did
don't,
you say it like that?
I don't know why I said it with that accent. It just kind of came out. That is really strange. I literally, the question in my head was like, why did that accent come out? And anyways, I have no explanation. So, yeah,
Okay.
laugh as you will. I'm here for comedic relief. But yeah, so they have a stat cast for celebrities, and this one has a lot of celebrities that's like from our past, things from the 90s, some older than that, but and they have some current guests as well. But like Hayden Christensen's going to be there for you Star Wars fans. But my top five actually is like some more of older people. Christopher Lloyd, man, I've always wanted to meet Doc Brown. So I think he would be a great one to visit. Another thing, I'm a huge fan of Happy Days. So Henry Winkler, love Henry Winkler, man. I
Mm.
that's probably like one of the most watched things I did with my grandma growing up was Happy Days, and I just as a kid the Fonzie was just so cool. But then we also have Mandalorian's Katie Sackhoff. She plays Bo-Katan, and she's also widely known for Battlestar Galactica back in the day. And then Louis Guzman. Another guy from one of my favorite movies of all times, The Count of Monte Cristo. And he's in so many other great films and projects, but Count of Monte Cristo is like one of my top, so I had to mention that. And
Mm-hmm.
then none other than John Cusack. It's not a guy you see out and about at cons a whole lot. And so I
Yeah.
think it would be a huge missed opportunity not to get to meet him, get his autograph. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Another person who's done so many great movies. I
Oh
love
yeah.
the Raven. The Raven's like probably one of my favorites. And I love him and Samuel L. Jackson in 1408. Uh,
Oh, dude, so
yeah,
good,
yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
That's another great one. So yeah, and once again, a lot of these cons don't release their schedule of events, till like the week of. So I look for them. Sometimes they have them released, as we talk about them, but this is one that doesn't. But they do have a schedule on there for like your celebrities. So they have your schedule of celebrities, for the celebrity panels, the Q&As and autographs and photo ops and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would really, if I had to pick like a Q&A or celebrity panel to go to, if I like really didn't want to miss one, and it's probably mainly because of his age, is it would be Christopher Lloyd.
Mm,
I really would not want to miss Christopher Lloyd because man, he's getting up there in ages and or
yeah,
years, and such an iconic actor. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah.
So I saw a schedule posted. So I picked two off of the little schedule thing that I saw, and it
Mhm.
might be
It's a
uh
celebrity schedule.
okay. So I saw that John Cusack was doing a Q&A, and I saw that
Hmm.
there's a Saved by the Bell panel
Hmm.
that they're doing on Saturday.
Hmm.
So I would go to both of those because the John Cusack Q&A is on Friday, and
Okay.
then Saved by the Bell is on Saturday. So I would do both of those.
My number two would be John Cusack. Like that would be the other one because like he's been in so many great things since the '80s. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that he's a must see because I don't ever see him out and
right,
about at any type of cons. I've actually never seen him
yeah.
like go
Well,
to a con.
when I
So
pulled up this list of celebrities and his face came across, I was like, oh, without like immediately, I was like, oh, this is definitely going in my top five pick. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think I've ever up until now, and I'm sure he's been at other cons, but he's like
yeah.
he's not heavily at cons. So like this is the first con I've seen him advertised to be at. So
Same, very much same. But yeah.
yeah, kind of wraps us up this week for fundamentals. Uh, cannot wait for next week for some more Daredevil talk.
Yeah, and in 18 days, I'll be in Missouri, so can't
Yes,
wait for that too.
yes, we have our
To be
first
cold.
con appearance. Uh, well,
Yes,
it's 60 degrees today. It could be warm. It could be a warm weekend. Hopefully, it is a warm weekend. So we shall find out. But stay tuned for that. So we'll catch
yes.
everybody later.
Peace.